Hello, everyone. What you will notice as a big difference between American sources and European sources is that European sources know better than take Trump at his word. Because if you look at reports on websites like CNN and New York Times and Washington Post and all of those, you'll see that they're saying unequivocally Trump had talked to Putin, right, about arranging negotiations regarding the war in Ukraine. Sources like Euronews, Reuters, Guardian, Kiev Post, Kiev Independent are saying Trump says he talked to Putin. So I tend to lean European, you know. So you make of it what you wish. I had long since stopped trusting Trump. I don't think I ever trusted him. The guy's a creep. But anyway, onward as to what is going on. So the problem with the statements that, progress is being made is that there are no specifics. We talked about this many, many times. This is a complicated situation. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine goes back hundreds of years. Somebody at one point said, nobody understands that. That's actually not true. Those of us who grew up there, those of us who bothered to study history, we understand the conflict, but that doesn't make it any simpler. It doesn't change the fact that it is rooted in history between Russia and Ukraine. You have to understand it really well to really get what is going on, particularly the history of Russia's expansionism and imperialism. And not only with respect to Ukraine, but with respect to all of the border states. So, what I would like to see is not the statements, oh, we have to end this war because people are dying. We already know this. What are your specific proposals? Point by point. What is your plan? Give us a fucking outline at least. Saying that something is being done doesn't actually mean anything unless you can provide proof. And coming from a different area, similar but different, I've worked as a business analyst, data analyst, and project analyst, alternatively, through the course of my now almost 30-year career. And I can tell you, you don't even do a basic systems upgrade unless you have a specific list of steps that you're going to do. Unless you have a list of people involved and unless everybody knows what they're supposed to do and when. So the fact that we are talking here, one of the biggest global conflicts since World War II, and we still don't have all of our ducks in a row, or at least an outline, is disturbing. And there's proof right there in that first paragraph. So Trump believes that Putin cares. On what ground does he believe that? Because so far Putin demonstrated literally nothing that indicates that he cares about the losses on his side, and especially that he cares about the losses on Ukrainian side. Trump didn't say whether Putin offered any commitments because there aren't any. Putin wants it my way or the highway. So Trump keeps saying that he has a plan for ending the war, but he presents no detail, which to me says he doesn't have it. To me, that is just another advertising campaign for Donald Trump, who spent his entire election campaign talking about ending the war in Ukraine in 24 hours and lowering the price of eggs. Have you checked the price of eggs lately? That ought to tell you everything you need to know. Now, there is a big question I want to ask. So we know Trump is not going to go to Russia to negotiate with Putin. And I think things like that have to happen in person with witnesses present. And he already said he was not going to go to Ukraine. So, theoretically, Putin and Zelensky would have to come to Washington, but there's a problem. Putin is an international criminal. And the last time I checked, the US was still one of the nations that subscribes to the services and protections by the International Criminal Court. So if Putin comes here, we have an obligation to arrest him. What are you going to do about that? Now, Zelensky is right in constantly reiterating to Ukraine's allies, be it US or be it the European allies, not to abandon Ukraine. He understands at least this little bit, that Putin does want his way or the highway, that any ceasefire arranged by Trump is likely to benefit Putin, unless some miracle happens. And any pause in the war is going to be just that, a pause. Because again, folks, we literally have centuries of experience with this particular enemy. All they ever do when there is a peace or a ceasefire or a truce or whatever you want to call it is take that time to regroup, accumulate more weapons, more people, more resources, and attack again. So, just saying, let's pause the war here, let them keep the invaded territories, is just bullshit. Because that's not going to stop there. And there it is. Look at that. So, on one hand, Russia says they're open to talks, but they're not interested in giving up on their goals. That's all you need to know. So, they invaded Ukraine under false pretenses. And they want to keep 1/5 of Ukrainian territory and do whatever the fuck they want there. And they make no promises that they're not going to try and take more of Ukrainian territory. I don't see, again, how is this beneficial to Ukraine? And once again, yes, how is that to be stopped? And once again, this is where the absence of any outlines or any details or any ideas, what he likes to call the concept of an idea, is disturbing. You had a chance to observe this war, sir, for almost 3 years now. You gotta have at least some idea since you built so much of your election campaign on it. Have you given it any fucking thought other than this has to help me get elected? Meanwhile, so situation in the Russia's Kursk region is definitely heating up. So they're trying to use their usual tactics of shock and awe with tanks, drones, and of course the disposable North Korean soldiers. And once again, my big question is, first of all, how are people of North Korea okay with that? Second, do they even know what's going on, what is being done to their fellow North Koreans out there? And North Korean workers who came to just work in Russia, who are in supposedly peaceful, non-war related professions, how safe are they? What are the chances of them getting snapped up and just hauled off to the Ukrainian front? All of those questions should be asked. Who's going to ask them?